Thank you, Senator Wyden. And Ms. Stanford, I'd like to start with you as well. In your testimony, you indicated that we should not just assume that the model is working the way it should, that this is the model that we should be using. And you indicated that a significant amount of the kind of treatment that is referred to this model could be handled in a home setting with some number of hours a week of counseling or support outside the home. Could you expand on that notion a little bit?
Yes, so I'm not a mental health professional, but absolutely from what we've seen, I think there's been this assumption that there's constant services and therapy that's being provided or time for self-reflection inside these facilities, and that's not what we see at all. It's chaos most of the time, and they're not being engaged. They're getting very little therapy. So there are lots of models out there with different types of therapy involving the families, involving just the children, but different methods and supports that could be put in place. I think what kids need is individualized care, and when you put them in these facilities, it necessarily becomes about the efficiency of the facility and not the individual care that can be provided to each kid. They're all being provided the same thing, that is what the model inside that facility is. And so just assuming that these places are providing intensive services and relying on that without looking further into what it is they're providing or what additional issues they're creating with the children is a real disservice to the children.
Well, thank you. And we and each of you have already talked about the notion of the need for much more aggressive oversight of these facilities. But Ms. Manley, would you agree that if I could kind of give a shorthand to what Ms. Stanford was saying, is we're overutilizing this model because we should be focusing on getting more kids getting their treatment at home with the assistance from outside as needed. Is that something you would agree with?
Absolutely. Providing good care up front means that many young people can be provided that care in their own homes. There are some young people who benefit from short, trauma-responsive, family-engaged residential interventions that are very close to home.
And you emphasized the word short.
Yes.
And again, I can't remember which of you, several of you referenced the fact that when abuse does happen, that there's concern about how to get it reported. Ms. Laren, you indicated that the states and local communities are more in charge of the oversight than the federal government. But I think that several of you referenced the fact that whoever's in charge of oversight, the system, the way it works right now, is one in which the fear of retaliation may cause a block to being able to conduct that appropriate oversight. Is that correct? Ms. Laren, would you like to comment about that?
Yeah, that's definitely true. When we talked about barriers to getting good information about how often this occurs, a big one is fear of retaliation, both by staff who may observe abuse and not want to report it, and by residents who don't have safe ways to report abuse.
So I've only got about a minute and a half left. Could each of you take about 30 seconds and tell me how should we improve the oversight in those cases where children do need to be referred to this type of treatment? Ms. Laren, let's start with you and then move down.
Well, oversight is primarily a state responsibility. We really believe that HHS could do more to, for example, identify best practices for oversight and share those, facilitate the information sharing among states. This is something we've recommended that HHS has not acted on.
Thank you. Ms. Manley?
At the state level, state understanding of each of the residential interventions, but more importantly, putting intensive care coordination included for every young person who touches within residential. So there's an actual team of individuals who know that young person and spend time with that young person who can actually report back what it is that's happening.
And Ms. Stanford, I want to get to you, but I think, Ms. Manley, in your testimony, you indicated that you thought that family members should be more involved at the facilities. Is that true?
Yes, they should have access to young people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I think that would help get to the reporting, frankly. Ms. Stanford.
I think there could be a lot more of a focus on quality of care. Right now, the minimal federal regulations that relate to these facilities are very specific and don't overall cover that whether this place is providing a therapeutic environment or the quality of care or even the level of services that are being provided. So that information needs to be looked at and shared among states in a manner so people can see overall what these providers are providing across the nation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Crapo. Senator Stout.